Although direct grilling is great for thinner steaks, burgers, and hot dogs, it's not so good for thicker pieces of meat, or poultry, or meats that require a bit of fat rendering in order to get tender. Now, if you tried cooking chicken or ribs directly over an open fire on the kettle, you'll run into a fire management problem. It's going to be too hot, so the exterior is going to be burnt up, but the interior will still be raw and unrendered. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to direct grill these tougher pieces of meat. Hello, Sal here from SJ Cooks. Today, I'm going to show you a very simple hack that's going to allow you to cook ribs or chicken on the Weber kettle directly over the fire. And stay tuned until the end, and I'm giving you the additional tips on making this a better setup for you. Alright, so now the most common way to cook these meats have always been indirectly, which basically means you create a hot zone on one end of your kettle, and then you place your meat away from the fire. You cover, and then you cook your meat this way. That method certainly isn't broken, but if you love the taste of direct fire cooking or the advantage of cooking meats really quickly, then let me quickly show you how the setup works. Okay, so you're gonna start off by placing your grate, placing your fire bricks, and then placing a second grate for you to cook on. Alternatively, you can use Weber baskets, whatever it takes to help elevate your grill grate. Once you have the second grate elevated, you can cook your protein. Increasing the distance between your protein and your fire is going to result in lower temperatures hitting your meat. It'll let the interior cook thoroughly before the exterior gets too much color or it burns up on you. So let me show you how I cook ribs using this method or this hack. I'm using some marinated ribs that I've cut up here into thirds. Cutting them allows me to rotate and move them around more easily. Now, you don't have to marinate them, but I'm actually making a separate video on marinating ribs, so be sure to subscribe to my channel so you get notified when this video is released. But here's the setup. Start up with some coals. I'm actually using some leftover used charcoal. There's nothing wrong with that. Dropping in 3 Weber cubes to get it all started. I'm also going to be dropping in some cherry wood chunks. Using real wood will introduce more flavor. Okay, so now I'm placing in my first grate. This is a gourmet grill grate, and I'm using the grate without the center. This way it's easier for me to add more wood chunks or more charcoal if necessary. Next, I'm placing in my fire bricks, and I'm placing in my second grate. I'm estimating I'm running about 325 here, which is hot, but not as hot as I would be running if I cooked these on the first grate. Next, drop in your ribs. Now, when using this method, you still want to keep an eye on it so you can flip and rotate every 5 to 10 minutes. Once you're happy with the color, I like to sauce them. Now I'm using a mole sauce. Now you can find the video for this recipe down in the description. Next, I'm going to place some aluminum foil with additional sauce, wrap, and place them back on the grill. Now cook these until the ribs are nice and tender. Keep in mind, you don't have to maintain your direct grilling setup at this point because the ribs receive the smoke and the grill taste already. Now feel free to break down your setup and run your pit using the indirect method after you've wrapped. These ribs took me about an hour total cooking time, and the ribs were absolutely delicious. You get the amazing grill flavor taste, and the mole sauce I used, let's give it a taste, took them over the top. And although they're not as tender as low and slow ribs, these ribs are packed with flavor. Highly recommend you make these. Highly recommend you try out this method. Some fire bricks, Weber baskets, whatever you do to elevate that second grill, and you're ready to rock. Now, what kind of things can you do to make the setup better? Aside from using the gourmet grill grate, I will also suggest using the lid of an 18-inch kettle like the one found on my Weber Jumbo Joe. Having a hinge grate on the second grate will also make it easier to drop in additional charcoal. Alright, so none of these are actually necessary. So if you don't have any of these 3, I'm not going to suggest you go out and buy them for this setup. Even if you fall in love with this method of cooking, I would probably use the extra money to buy yourself a Santa Maria accessory like the Gabby's grill attachment. It's a much cleaner setup than this mod, and it has the extra advantage of fine-tuning the distance between the fire and your meat by simply lowering or raising your grate. But what are your thoughts? Is this something you're gonna try? And if you did give it a shot already, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you next time.